Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. I hope that you guys are doing well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time that you're listening to this. I really do appreciate the fact that you're here and the fact that you're listening. Today we are going to be looking at the book of Psalms chapter 125. I will be reading it from the NLT version. It is my hope and prayer that you have stopped and that you have read the chapter for yourself, that you have understood what's happening in the chapter, and that the Lord has spoken to you individually and, in regards to whatever it is that you're going through and the spaces that you are in. We'll read this and I'm going to give the summary and also the lesson that I have picked up from this chapter. All right, so let's do this. It's a very short chapter. It only has 5 verses. Psalms 125, a song for the pilgrims ascending to Jerusalem. Those who trust in the Lord are secure as Mount Zion. They will not be defeated, but will endure forever. Just as the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people both now and forever. The wicked will not rule the land of the godly, for then the godly might be tempted to do wrong. O God, do good to those who are good, whose hearts are in tune with you. But banish those who turn to crooked ways, O Lord. Take them away with those who do evil. May Israel have peace. Wow. So the psalmist wrote that those who trust the Lord are secure and immovable like the mountains of Zion. And then also the Lord surrounds his people to guard them, as the city of Jerusalem was surrounded by the protective mountains and hills. And then the writer went ahead to pray to God to bless the righteous people in their land and to drive away all evildoers. He did not want the influence of the evil in their nation because he did not want wickedness to tempt the godly people into sin. I personally really like this psalm. I find it very encouraging to know that trusting in God comes with its perks. It comes with, being unshaken, being unmoved, and being heavily guarded. However, I want us to shift our focus to verse 3. It says, "The wicked will not rule the land of the godly, for then the godly might be tempted to do wrong." So basically, it's almost like, God give us good rulers, because then the rulers that you give has the impact and influence to lead us to temptation, or to lead us to worship the Lord, or to lead us to worship other gods. So in this verse, we see that those who rule us have a huge effect on whether we fall into temptation or not. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, presidency, whatever. Now, I want you to think about rule in this perspective. We are the ones that elect our rulers. And so we practically give them the power to rule us. And the rulers we set in place have the influence that can lead us to temptation. In the same way we elect our leaders, it's the same way we choose our hobbies. We're the ones that choose our hobbies and put these hobbies into a place of like ruling us or even controlling us, or all we think about is these hobbies. So in the same way we choose our leaders and our rulers, we choose our hobbies, we choose our forms of entertainment, we choose places that we frequent, we choose the people that we spend time with, we choose the things that we want to listen to, and we give those things authority to lead us or to rule us into tempting situations. So the best way of avoiding falling into temptation or tempting situations is to be far removed from anything that has capacity to influence you, to impact you, and to tempt you. And by doing so, we remove the power that these things have to tempt us. So if our main goal is to walk in the Lord's way, we should evaluate everything that we do and ask ourselves whether we are unnecessarily exposing ourselves to influences that lead us to sin. Because your hobbies and the things that you listen to could be a way that you are actually exposing yourself to influences that lead you to sin. So we should evaluate our hobbies, evaluate your forms of entertainment. What do you do for entertainment? Evaluate the places that you frequent, evaluate the people that you spend time with, what you watch, what you listen to, what we agree with, just because people or the mass seem to agree with. Let me tell you, memes are things we just agree with just because people are agreeing with. And so people are sending memes, fear men or fear women. And then you are there now smiling. It's like you've agreed that men should be feared or women should be feared. There's memes about men are trash. I'm like, sasa wewe unacheka, unazirepost. So you've kind of agreed to these things, whether you like it or not, because now you've become even the one reposting these things. There are so many things that we agree to that are actually things that now become like our attitudes. They become the things we start to slowly believe in, because those things are slowly starting to be planted in your minds. Fear men. Oh, men are trash. So we are starting to think, oh, like now the one that I really don't like is how people say that January has like 62 days. I'm like, if you planned your finances better, imagine your January would just be like any other month. But no, we want to believe that January is a broke month. So we've already planted that thing in your mind. And so what are the things that are you planting in your mind that are already tempting you to sin, or that are causing you to actually fall into sin? It doesn't have to be like those two things that seems like they're such small things. There are other things that you could be believing that are making you fall into sin. You could be believing Nairobi is, there are no faithful people in Nairobi, that you have to be unfaithful so that then you can survive in relationships. And that's what you're doing in relationship, because those small things have been planted in your mind. So evaluate everything that you do. Evaluate your hobbies. Evaluate who you hang out with, who you are listening to, because those things have the potential of exposing you to leading you to sin. They have the potential to actually lead you to sin, and you should evaluate and remove those things and actually banish them. I like the fact that in verse what? In the last verse 5, it says, but banish those who turn to crooked ways. But you can also just banish those things that you don't like, and those things that are leading you to sin, and say, you know what? These are not going to be my hobbies anymore. I'm not going to frequent this place anymore. I'm not going to be hang out with this group of people anymore, because these people are leading me into sin. I do hope that you have a good time even just reflecting and just evaluating that, and that the Lord gives you the courage and the boldness to be able to walk away from everything and anything that leads you to tempting situations. Thank you so much for listening, and see you tomorrow.